My introduction is up there. I hope Lenovo is a familiar name to all of you. We've been in the country for the last 20 years, and we have a wide portfolio starting from Motorola phones to going up to servers and storage. So I'm hoping that most of you in the room are customers. If you're not, meet me outside and grab that discount voucher that can make you a Lenovo customer in the next half an hour. And if you're an existing customer, if you have a service complaint, feel free to reach out to me as well, because CX is important to us. So I was wondering why I was called to this platform, because I stopped being a marketer almost 12 years ago, and I know very little about the new age of mobile marketing. But guess that's what people say about marketers, right? You can take a person out of marketing, but you can't take marketing out of the person. So here I am back addressing a group of marketers. And my content is going to be very less about mobile marketing, because I'm confessing I know very little about that space. But I hope whatever I talk about will be relevant for this group of marketers, which is about the disruption that's facing all of us, which is AI. Just a quick question to the audience, and I know I've lost some of you for the break. Hopefully they come back in the next 5 minutes. How many apps would you have on your phones? Sorry? 40, 30, over 50? How? About 100. How many did you have a decade ago? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how integral using an application to run our lives, whether it is at work or play, has become, because of very practical applications that we have on a very accessible device like the smartphone. How many AI agents do you have on your phone? Three, four. You're clearly leading the pack. Is that an AI agent that you have? Which one do you have, sir? Gemini? So they are not fully agents yet. They're just a level up from maybe being a assistant in your discovery process. An agent would mean they will also perform the task for you. And that's where we are headed. Right now, this is like the birth of the internet. Internet was born somewhere in the late 90s, and over time you have now maybe 100 apps on your phone. It's taken us about 30 odd years. Right now, I doubt whether any one of you will have a real agent on your phone, because none have really come through yet. But will that explode in the next 2 to 3 years? Absolutely yes. And the seminal impact that will have on all our lives, whether at work, at play, we can only imagine the possibility. And I heard the earlier panelists talk about how AI is not new. She was right. AI has been around as a term for the last at least 50, 60 years. My dad was one of the early computer professionals in the country. And I was going through his old documents, and he had written a thesis on AI in 1969. So that's how old the technology is. And this is man's search for looking for something which is better, which can improve the life of us humans, make our most productive, and make our jobs easier. And this is how our humanity has evolved, right? In the early ages, it was just about discovering the wheel or discovering fire or finding the first stone implement or the iron implement. And that lasted for a very long time. And I hope you get a sense of the acceleration. Something that lasted for millions of years since we emerged from the cave and started becoming productive, to the industrial revolution, which lasted maybe for about 200 years. And we had disruption, right? The first car, the first flight, man going into space. These were big disruptive movements. And all that got compressed into just 200 odd years. But the real disruption, real acceleration we are seeing after the growth of computing. The first computer came about in 1940s. And already, how many of you remember the top left picture? Top right, sorry. It's on my left, your right. Yeah, lady raising her hand up. Yes, the first time a machine was intelligent enough to defeat Garry Kasparov, who was the ruling champion for the previous decade, and nobody could beat his brain. But Deep Blue came in, tried 2 or 3 times, failed, but finally in 1997, a machine became more intelligent in one of the most complex games that humanity has created. 1997 till now, there have been enough science fiction movies. Everyone remembers HAL 9000, a sentient computer trying to run the world. So fiction is coming true, right? What happened in January 2023 ChatGPT got discovered. 100 million downloads within a month. And all this had been building up. Enough compute was coming through. There was this famous Moore's law where the chip will become smaller and double every 5 years or so. Those norms got broken. And the amount of compute which is now available, which allows you to perform much more complex tasks at a much more efficient in a fraction of a time, that generative power truly came through in just about 2 to 3 years ago. And remember, like I said, this is just the birth of the technology. It's like the world getting connected in 1990. The amount of change that this will bring through. So let this room not be any doubt whether AI is something like blockchain or crypto which will come and go. It is a fundamental technology shift and it will remain. What is likely to happen in the next 10 years? Because AI has become generative. But that's not where it stops. What is the world running towards? Because even right now, for something to get generated, you need prompts. Right? There's still a lot of human intervention in trying to get the generation out from the machine. Anyone heard of the term AGI? Yes, you have. Yeah, it's artificial general intelligence. And that's supposed to be the seminal moment where machines will truly become independent of humans. They'll generate without a prompt. Is that too far away? No. Some people are saying it's as early as 2030, some are saying 2035, but it's about 10 years ago, 10 years away. That's how fast the acceleration of technology will happen. Some people call it the AI singularity moment, where finally a machine will run fully independently of, and that's where we say the creator will become bigger than, the tool will become bigger than the creator. Like I was saying, this is one of the fastest adoption of technology that we've seen. 100 million downloads within a single month. And it started with ChatGPT, but obviously many others have caught up, including Google, which was supposed to be behind in the race. Suddenly it's become the flavor of the season. But what is driving all this? And this may not come through to people who are at the front end. This is what is happening at the back end. The race to build AI infrastructure, the race to build AI factories, the race to build the new kind of data center. Look at the number there. Look at the money which is being thrown at this problem. $700 billion which will get consumed just in data center capacity, which is to enable the compute to happen from just the big guys. Right? This is all at the back end. This is the large language models. This is the training which is happening of machines. This is not an interpretation. This is not at the front end of developing any application. This is just the training side. So all the hyperscalers are driving this phenomena. There's something called a neo cloud. The second rung players are coming in. Governments have come in because data was the new oil, but now AI is the new oil. And there are things about if you don't have enough of sovereign AI, you will get left in the race. And obviously, then whoever controls the AI ecosystem will also have a lot of geopolitical clout. So India has also announced the sovereign AI mission. Guess how much is the spend that the government has made last year? Total budgetary allocation for the sovereign AI mission. You see the numbers on the chart, right? Total is 670 billion. How much is India's sovereign AI mission? Sorry? Yeah. I wish it was 10, it is 1. So all the hype that you see about India creating a lot of AI compute available for the public, for startups, it pales in comparison to the money being thrown at this problem from private equity and the hyperscalers. Sorry, technology is not on my side today. So this is the exponential growth in compute, and it's a useful visualization where you see that the racetracks are being laid. Right? Imagine a Formula 1 race that first there'll be a lot of good tracks. Data center is a good track for the car to run on, right? But what are the cars? And if you look at this figure, the CPU, GPU, NPU combination, earlier I spoke about Moore's law where the chip was constraining how much compute can happen at any given point of time. Now there are 3 chips running in parallel. CPU was the earlier one, then there's something called a graphics processing unit which came in, now there's something called a neural processing unit. And the 3 working in tandem and sharing workloads. Now imagine a normal PC that you would have, a laptop in your hands. If that is running 3 trillion operations per second, with the three working together at the same price, now you are getting compute which is 50 trillion operations per second. So if you bought a AI PC recently, you have a very powerful thing in your hands. And like I said, a lot of the money is being sent on the back end, which is on the training models, but the real magic will happen in inferencing and in the machine becoming your digital twin. And the machine that you have is actually much more powerful than what a supercomputer used to be able to do just a few years ago. Somebody was talking about sustainability. Imagine the energy impact. I've put the data up there. That in a traditional data center where a server used to consume 10 kilowatts per hour, now if it is GPU, which is what is required for AI training models, it's 10x of that. Any idea of what is the typical energy consumption in a household monthly, say in US? That will be a useful reference point on the energy impact that a data center now creates. Any guesses? So in a developed country like the US, energy consumption, obviously it's also a colder climate, so heating is required. It's about 900 a month, 900 kilowatt hour. India obviously will be much lesser, maybe half or one third of that. You run this server, single server, GPU server, for 8 hours in a day, you're consuming what can power a household in the US for a month. And it's not just one. When you look at these data farms, these visuals are AI generated, but that's not too far from the truth. Huge corn farms in Indiana are getting converted into huge data factories like this right under our noses. $700 billion is being thrown at this problem. Will that have an impact on sustainability? Absolutely, yes. Now, how does India compete with that? If you want to set up a data center in Bombay, which is right now the densest cluster, where will you get the energy from? Yes, solar is one of the options, and Lenovo also has a solution to that, which I'll cover in a bit. Yeah. How does it impact customer behavior? Now, I also heard this talk about Gen Alpha, Gen Z. I feel really ancient because I was Gen X, way beyond in the alphabet. Has my behavior changed? Yet it has, obviously, because I work for a tech company. We were dog fooded on Copilot Plus, so meeting summaries, email assist, all that has happened. But has it fully changed my behavior? No, beyond asking for give me a travel itinerary to Japan for 7 days. It's not progressed too much beyond that. If I look at my daughter who's in college in the US, second year, her consumption of AI is 10x of mine already. And we are not talking Gen Alpha yet. Right? There was this talk about digital natives. The next generation will be AI native. Their intuitive use of AI will be very, very different. And since I'm talking to this group of marketers, what happens if the task is not being performed by a human? That your coffee is being decided by the machine. The hotel that you want to stay in is being decided by the machine. Your choice of shoes is being decided by the machine. Who are you advertising to? Obviously, they'll look at your search history, your past behavior, and all of that. Your digital twin is built on your digital persona, but that is on the past. Will it allow for change? How do you grow as a human being, and how will the machine reflect that? And all these are questions which will stare us in the face not too far away. It's just in the next few years, you will have something as your digital twin performing tasks for you, which is beyond assistance. It is going to become autonomous at a level. So this is standard. What will AI do? Will AI take your job? No, you will not. You will lose your job to AI. You will lose your job to someone who can use AI better than you. Because people are using AI on a daily basis to become more productive. There are enough data points on saying that it can help you become more productive by 10, 15, 20%, which means that somebody is operating at 20% more efficiency than a person who's not using AI. So a lot of the repetitive work, marketers have been talking about content generation. The earlier panel was also talking about it. A lot of these routine jobs will go because content creation or something which is basic coding is already been done by machines at a much faster and a more accurate pace than humans ever could. Can I request for this video to be played?
China unveils doctorless AI kiosks that diagnose and dispense medicine in just 5 minutes. Imagine skipping long waits, crowded clinics, and repeated trips. These kiosks put speed, convenience, and care directly in your hands. No human doctor required. Here's how it works. You step in. Facial recognition and medical sensors check your vitals. Blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, oxygen levels. In minutes, AI analyzes the data and delivers a probable diagnosis. Then, it hands you your medicine instantly. No lines, no forms, no waiting. They're popping up in malls, transit hubs, and public squares, bringing fast, affordable healthcare to busy cities and even remote towns. AI isn't perfect. Rare diseases, complex cases, and mental health issues still need human doctors. But for routine checkups and minor ailments, this is the future of medicine. Fast, frictionless, and at your convenience. So, would you trust a machine over a doctor?
So this is not AI generated, this is real. There are enough doctorless clinics which are popping up in China and in some parts of Europe as well. Still, I would say experimental, but as the accuracy improves. Now, what happens to what was called the outpatient department? What happens when you have a shortage of doctors and you're not able to solve the problem without the use of technology? So you may still have a remote doctor monitoring the overall process, but imagine such a kiosk in a village dispensing medicines. All that is immediately possible. It's not too far out in the future. It's not 10 years away. This is happening as we speak. And this is just one use case because I spoke about maybe the consumer adoption of AI. Consumers obviously have taken to AI a lot more than enterprise has. But already we are hearing about autonomous factories. That's a fully dark factory. There's no one even switching on the lights there. The factory is running 24/7 without a single human on that floor. And output is happening at a very predictable level. Autonomous cars, all that is public evidence, but a full factory running without any human intervention, a full hospital running without any human intervention, that's the power of AI. And it's coming at us quite fast.
China unveils doctorless.
Yeah, so what is Lenovo doing about it? Like I said, we are a fairly widespread technology footprint. We run a pocket to cloud business, but we see everything getting changed with AI. And our view of AI is not just what you see with a hyperscaler. AI is not what you see only on ChatGPT or Gemini. The world will move to a hybrid AI world. In a way, it already has, where AI will be run in a personal space, because a lot of your data you want only on your machine. You don't want to run it on the cloud. Now, if you want analysis on your financial documents, why would you want to do it on the cloud? Or if you want something to be more private in terms of your photographs, your videos, the computer itself, your laptop itself will have the compute part to give you AI solutions. We have a feature called AI Now already on our laptops, which does maybe 90% of the task which a Copilot Plus or a Gemini would do. Because the data is there, models are already established. It's just about putting a layer of application on top of that, which allows you to give you a near accurate kind of. So personal is there, the same goes for enterprise data. Many of you represent good companies. In the early years of AI summaries, we heard about somebody summarizing a board meeting and putting it on the cloud. So that is accessible for the whole world to see. Because people were curious, they wanted to try out some application. But like I showed this use case of a hospital, that surely can't run on the cloud. Because patient information, it has to be protected. Which means enterprise AI adoption will happen. So, and all companies, good companies are experimenting, they're creating pilots, they're creating what is called a AI library or AI factory, which is on their own premises and not necessarily relying on the cloud. And public AI is well known, which is where all the back-end action in terms of large training models are getting created. But imagine this world, very similar to the current world of internet, that everything is connected to the net, whether it's through a phone or a server. Everything is now connected through AI. But there are guardrails, there are boundaries, or what can go into the public space, what can remain in an enterprise space, and what will remain on your device. But how do you govern all this? Because finally, if the control rests with the user and you want to decide how to play with the data, this is where the agents start coming in, which will give you the control, which will give you the governance. And we've made something of our own, which is now called, it's called Project Quantum. By January, we'll be announcing that to the public. It will actually become your twin and it will give you control from a cross-device point of view. But for you, it is a single interface. which can look at your phone, look at your tablet, look at your PC, look at your other public storage documents, and still give you the same seamless response through a single interface. People spoke about sustainability in all this AI world. Security is very important. Some part is what goes into the cloud. The other is this generative power of AI. Does give clout to not so nice operators. So deep fakes. We've all seen Nano Banana and the 6 top guys in technology having coffee in Kormangla. All those images are getting created because there's a lot of compute power which is available. So we are working hard to make it secure, ethical, and also sustainable as AI. And I've covered most of this in terms of our wide portfolio. There's Motorola, because the brief to me was, how is Lenovo enabling all of this? I hope this gives you a sense. We do have our inside view on the entire ecosystem, and we are contributing quite well to making all this accessible within the country as well. So all these brands are legendary. There's Motorola, Legion for gamers, there's Yoga, ThinkPad, ThinkSystem. I do want to spend 30 seconds on Neptune, because remember, about 5 minutes ago, I spoke about sustainability and the energy consumption which is required for this large compute to keep generating. A quick factoid, when you're searching on normal Google versus the AI mode, what is the delta in energy consumption? Because when you use it in the AI mode, you're sending a prompt somewhere else. What is the magnitude of energy difference between a normal search query and a AI search query? That's one guess, sorry. 5x, 10x is actually 30x. It's the same Google, it's on the same toolbar, just by choosing from one mode to another. Imagine the pressure you as a user are creating on the planet, just because you want a more accurate or a better predictive response. Now, all that requires a lot of compute power, which will generate heat. We have something called Neptune. We are on the 6th generation of cooling. And servers can be cooled 2-3 ways. One is to put air conditioning on, the second is to blow air, that you blow in air and it takes away the heat. The third is liquid cooling. And this sounds magical. There's water which is going into the circuitry and cooling it. Sorry? Yes, that those fibers are getting laid. That's not the bottleneck right now. The bottleneck seems to be more energy right now. And our cooling solutions brings down the energy requirement, because this doesn't require the water to be cool. You put in warm water, it cools the system, and then you can take the hot water which is exiting. In some countries, we are using it to defreeze the streets, right? Because streets get frozen in the western part of the world at this time. So you can just pour the water there and it will melt the ice. So it's a very circular kind of thing that we've enabled, and it's a very strong differentiator for us as Lenovo. We are also asked this question. We are a $80 billion company. In India also, we are pushing about $4.5 billion. So how are you transforming yourself? And that is the question you have to answer for yourself also. Once you go back to your desk, how fast are you adopting AI for yourself before you start trying to do that for your customers? So we have something called Studio AI. It's now about a 2-year-old platform. Earlier, we used to struggle for content. Now all that approved content, it is all, there was this talk about whether it is pilfered images or whatever, these are all stock approved images, and you can create whatever content you want much faster and in a much more controlled way than we were able to do in the past. For example, my enterprise sales guy would struggle to make a presentation going to, say, a retail customer, but now within 15-20 minutes, he can have a full presentation on the customer's history, what the possible use cases are, and what part of Lenovo technology can be sold to that customer. That sales presentation is ready in 15-20 minutes, which would have taken a few days to make earlier, because we have this platform called Studio AI. We sell millions of devices, not every month, every day. In India itself, last year we would have sold 12-13 million devices. Globally, when you look at the number of phones and the number of computers that we sell, it's a very high order of magnitude. And if you see any piece of technology, it's a very complex piece of thousands of components. So for that supply chain to work, to give you the device that you want when you need it, and also the spare parts as and when you need it, at a predictable level, at 99% accuracy, requires a supply chain efficiency of the highest order. And we are well known for this. We have one of the smartest, most forward-looking supply chain. It's stood the test of time. During COVID, we retained our #1 crown. In a geopolitical turmoil, tariff situation, we retain our #1 crown. All because our supply chain is very resilient and diverse and flexible. A large part of that we've automated. There's a lot of AI which has gone into smartifying our supply chain. And because of that confidence, now we are able to offer smart manufacturing solution or smart supply chain solutions to our customers as well. And yeah, the figure is there. There's a 60% improvement on that solid base in the last 1 year in our decision-making timelines on parts forecasting, etc. I spoke about dog fooding Copilot Plus. It was a small group of us which started on this. Already we are seeing 5 to 10% efficiency in terms of our routine tasks come through. And yeah, I spoke about services. When we sell our devices, it's a long-term contract with our customers like yourself. It's not a FMCG transaction that we have to have recourse over the next 3 to 5 years that you have the device for. And there, the contact center efficiency in terms of hold times, in terms of getting the problem diagnosed right the first time, we're already seeing a 5% efficiency. Now imagine if you have 5,000 agents who become 5% more efficient. It means either you can reduce the number of headcount or you can improve your customer satisfaction. At least the decision is then with the business stakeholder on how to leverage that efficiency. Now all this has happened in the last 1 year when we started adopting some AI pilots. Imagine the manifold impact it can create if all companies start doing pilots like these and start using AI for the true potential that it brings in your hands. With that, I end my presentation. Hopefully it was a little bit of breather from the mobile marketing topics that you've been listening to. And I hope you leave the room with no doubt that AI is not a flash in the pan, it's not a fad. And if you're not adopting AI, you will start feeling like a Gen Xer very, very soon. Thank you.